42 in Joliet. It's now 41 degrees in Morris, 39 in Kankakee, and it's 37 degrees in Merrillville. Here's where we're headed. So temperatures throughout this evening, they're going to stay very steady, sitting in the mid-30s. And then eventually tonight, we're planning on low temperatures that are right around the low to mid-30s. That's way above average, because your normal low for this time of the year is around 20 degrees. So we're actually only dipping down a few degrees tonight thanks to a kind of a strong south-southwesterly wind flow. Next couple of days around here, we're kind of bouncing back and forth between the 30s and 40s. But guess what? Next week, there are some signs that we just may be in the 50s. I'll have those details coming up.
All right, Emily, thank you. Some people in LaGrange are dealing with squatters who won't leave a home that was foreclosed on last year.
Police and SWAT raided the place and say they found drugs, including fentanyl.
Brett Bagansky live tonight in LaGrange. And Brett, you learned that there have been a number of complaints against the home and the homeowner, right?
That's absolutely the case. So there is a lot in this police report that we've obtained over the weekend here. They talked about how officers raided this home back in October. They found multiple illegal drugs, drug paraphernalia. And then when they started interviewing people, there were some people saying that prostitutes would frequent the house and that there would be random women at all hours of the night kind of wandering the block with their luggage, even some running out of the home screaming, saying they were forced to do drugs. Take a look at this video that I obtained today. This is from a neighbor who lives next door to the home in question. It shows, this is from Friday, it shows a man who appears to be crawling into a side window of that home there. So it just goes to show you some of the reports of squatters at the home. So to give you a little history behind it, somebody bought this home, a different person, through a foreclosure auction back in June. And I found out from the new owners and the neighbors saying that they can't get to the home just because squatters have taken over. This is at 812 South Catherine in LaGrange here. And I spoke with neighbors today who describe the last year and a half as just being a nightmare that won't end. And they're hoping a Cook County judge will finally order that the people who have been living inside that home finally be removed from the home because they are worried about their safety.
The worst thing that we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of people actually going to certain windows of the house late at night, knocking on the window, and then exchanging something. We can't see exactly what it is, but you can guess what they're exchanging at 3 o'clock in the morning.
So there is an eviction hearing tomorrow morning at 9:30, and many neighbors told me they plan on being there, and hopefully they feel that the judge will rule in their favor, and potentially you would have the Cook County Sheriff's Office being at the home, and they would forcibly remove people who have been squatting at that home allegedly for months. We are live in LaGrange tonight. Brett Bagansky, Fox Chicago.
All right, thank you, Brett. There's a new top agent at the helm of the Drug Enforcement Administration's Chicago Field Division. Todd Smith is a 21-year veteran of the DEA and becomes the highest-ranking official at the agency in Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin. He previously testified as a drug trafficking expert in El Chapo's trial out of New York. He tells us that agents are seeing a spike in the use of a newer street drug called 2C. It's typically a combination of cocaine and ketamine that's dyed pink. He says Chicago remains a major hub for drug trafficking for both the Sinaloa cartel and the CJ&G cartel, and is breaking down the other drugs agents are intercepting right now.
Fentanyl continues to drive overdose across Chicago. Our agents and task force officers are focused on fentanyl investigations, but we're also equally focused on methamphetamine and cocaine. Carfentanil is similar to fentanyl, but it's 100 times more potent. So it's extremely dangerous. We're seeing it mixed into the illicit fentanyl supply, both in powder and pills, counterfeit pills.
Between 2024 and 2025, the DEA's Chicago Field Division seized over 100,000 counterfeit carfentanil pills.
An auto expert now weighing in on the rash of airbag thefts recently across the Chicagoland area. We talked about this last week. CBD says as many as 20 cars parked in Jefferson Park, Uptown, and Bucktown have been broken into over the past 6 weeks. These break-ins began actually back in December. Police say the majority of vehicles targeted are late-model Hondas. The suspects, believed to be one, maybe two men wearing jumpsuits. On Chicago Live, we spoke to Jeff Cox. He's with the Automotive Maintenance and Repair Association, and he broke down why these particular Hondas are being targeted.
Honda specifically are targeted because the ease of stealing the airbags. It only takes the thieves a few minutes to be able to get the airbag out from the vehicle. Also, Hondas are they're everywhere. You know, they're a very common car, and so many people, with so many of them on the road, it creates a demand for them.
No arrests have been made in these latest airbag thefts.
The Super Bowl is over, but negotiations on a new Bears stadium are starting to heat up.
Yeah, Illinois lawmakers making their case. Of course, they want to keep the team right here in the state. Indiana, though, moving quickly to lure them across state lines. Perry Schutz has the latest.
Scott and Casey, this is a really close matchup, closer than Seattle and New England last night, I think. But if the Bears want to host a Super Bowl here, they're going to have to build a new stadium. The only question now is, will it be in Arlington Heights, Illinois, or Hammond, Indiana?
Representatives from the governor's office, legislative leaders, and the Bears are close to an agreement on major issues to move forward in Arlington Heights, according to sources close to the talks. The sources say there is an agreement in principle on two key issues: public financing for infrastructure and the so-called pilot bill that would give the Bears and other mega developers the ability to negotiate property tax rates directly with the municipality. The sources say there are ongoing negotiations on givebacks for taxpayers, as well as affordability options on ticket prices. Bears CEO Kevin Warren says the team can't move forward without the legislation, and has vowed the team will foot all of the costs related to building the stadium. Today, Governor Pritzker sounded optimistic about the direction of talks.
There's a lot of discussion, a lot of ongoing conversation with the Bears, and indeed, frankly, progress that's been made. So I'm pleased about that. But, I'm going to let the Bears talk about what it is that they want to get done and how they want to get it done.
But are Illinois lawmakers making their moves too late in the game? Indiana's counterparts have already passed their bill out of the state Senate and are planning to move it in the state House as well. Indiana's Republican Governor Mike Braun has announced his support. That bill would create a public authority that would finance all or part of a new stadium, with the Bears paying rent. Sources close to the team say the only Hoosier state site is near Wolf Lake, right across the border in Hammond. Indiana lawmakers have said they plan to pass their bill by the end of their legislative session, February 27th. Illinois State Rep Cam Buckner, part of the state's negotiations here, say that doesn't factor into his thinking.
But we are not in competition with them as far as I'm concerned. What we're doing is having the conversations to make sure we can fine tune what needs to happen in order for there to be a deal here in this state that works for everybody.
So notice the tone change here from Illinois lawmakers. It was, we're not helping out a billion-dollar organization, to let's come to an agreement that benefits the taxpayers and the Bears. But, Illinois lawmakers are off this week. They'll be back in Springfield next week.
Yeah, Paris, when do you think we could have a decision from the Bears?
So as I mentioned, the Indiana legislative session ends February 27th. They are planning to have that bill all done, passed in the House and the Senate by then in Indiana. And the Bears are planning to make a decision by that point, the end of February. So is Illinois too little too late with this recent push? We saw Caleb Williams at the last minute do some amazing things. Maybe Illinois lawmakers trying to get some of that Williams magic.
We know Mr. Warren would like to see shovels in the ground ASAP.
He would like to see shovels in the ground ASAP. He wanted to see it in the ground 2025, but he also said they cannot move forward on the Arlington Heights property without tax certainty. And the point the Bears make is it is a favorable deal for Illinois compared to what we just saw in Kansas. The Hunt family from Kansas City getting a huge payout from the state of Kansas. That's not what's happening here in Illinois, and the Bears aren't asking for that. But Indiana, here's the thing about Indiana. The bill is basically setting up the process, but there's no agreement yet in Indiana on how much will they spend for the stadium. Right. So that still has to happen. So both sides saying that this is going to come down to the next couple weeks here, and we'll have a decision.
All right, a race to the finish. Paris, thank you. Well, people in Arlington Heights are planning a rally to get the Bears to move there. The event is called Springfield Kickoff. Bring the Bears to Arlington Heights. It's happening on Wednesday at the DoubleTree Arlington Heights Hotel. It's being put together by Touchdown Arlington, a coalition of business owners who support the Bears going there.
There is a new push in Springfield to close a major funding gap in Illinois schools.
And an apparent ransom deadline looms as the race to find Nancy Guthrie enters its second week.
The Epstein investigation heating up yet again. Lawmakers getting stonewalled, though, by a co-conspirator.
It's been more than 1 week since Nancy Guthrie was reported missing, and we are an hour away from a reported ransom deadline. Just a few hours ago, Today Show host Savannah Guthrie made another public plea, saying her family is at an hour of desperation.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help.
Savannah did not mention a deadline in the video, saying her family continues to believe their 84-year-old mother is out there and hearing everyone's prayers. Over the last week, several news outlets received alleged ransom notes. At least one letter made demands for cryptocurrency and set deadlines for receiving it. The first deadline was Thursday, but a second was set for today at 6 our time. Law enforcement officials have not yet revealed if the letters are credible, but say all tips are being taken seriously.
Today, for the first time, members of Congress got to review unredacted files connected to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Now, they can only review these files in person, and they'll have to give advance notice and use Justice Department computers. Now, they are permitted to take notes. They will not be able, though, to make any copies. Maryland Representative Jamie Raskin reviewed documents today, and he believes there were a lot of unnecessary redactions in the files that have been released publicly. He is concerned Americans are not taking these accusations seriously.
I mean, it's an incredibly serious thing. When you read through these files and you read about 15-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls, 10-year-old girls. I saw a mention of a 9-year-old girl today. I mean, this is just preposterous and scandalous.
The Justice Department has released more than 3.5 million pages of documents concerning the Epstein case, along with 180,000 images and 2,000 videos.
And Scott, today lawmakers also tried to interview Epstein's ex-girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, but she invoked her Fifth Amendment rights to avoid answering questions. The House Oversight Committee wanted her to answer how Epstein got away with abusing so many girls for so long, and they want to know if any high-profile Americans helped. But she pleaded the Fifth in every response to nearly every question. She says she will only answer if she's given a pardon by the president. Most members of the committee are against that, but some Democrats are accusing the White House of trying to cut a deal in exchange for her silence.
Why did she not plead the Fifth when Blanche asked her questions? And now she's pleading the Fifth about things that don't implicate her, but may implicate many of the other powerful people.
Elaine's attorney says if the president pardons her, she would be willing to testify that neither Trump nor former President Bill Clinton were guilty of wrongdoing in their relationships with Epstein. She's currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking. Casey.
Terrence, thank you. Britain's Prime Minister is pleading with UK lawmakers to keep his job. Prime Minister Keir Starmer is facing scrutiny over his choice for the ambassador to the U.S., Peter Mandelson, and his connections to Epstein. The most recent release of files suggests that Mandelson gave Epstein access to sensitive government information. The Prime Minister's chief of staff resigned yesterday, taking full responsibility for Mandelson's appointment. Starmer will meet with legislators behind closed doors today to discuss next steps. President Trump is standing firm on not apologizing for the controversial video he shared depicting former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama as apes. When asked about it while aboard Air Force One, the president said the video was more about fraudulent elections.
I looked at the beginning of it, it was fine. They had that one post, and I guess it was a takeoff. By the way, a lot of people covered, if you look at where it came from, I guess it was a takeoff on The Lion King. And certainly it was a very strong post in terms of voter fraud. Nobody knew that that was at the end. If they would have looked, they would have seen it. And probably they would have had the sense to take it down.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt called the outrage over the post, quote, fake, but the video was later deleted, and the White House says the clip was posted, quote, erroneously. Cardinal Blaise Cupich is now calling on the White House to issue an apology over the post. He says, quote, portraying human beings as animals less than human is not new. It was a common way in past centuries for politicians and others to demean immigrant groups as each arrived. He ended his statement by saying, quote, our shock is real. So is our outrage. Nothing less than an unequivocal apology to the nation and to the persons demeaned is acceptable.
Well, nearly 3.3 million students in Illinois attend districts that are underfunded, and the kids hardest hit come from low-income and minority communities. Now, state lawmakers are pushing new legislation designed to close the more than $3 billion gap in evidence-based funding, while evening the playing field for minority and low-income families who often don't receive the same levels of financial support for things like nutrition, transportation, social work, and counseling.
Illinois requires schools to meet critical obligations like special education services, transportation for students with disabilities, and other mandated categoricals. These are not optional. They are legal and moral requirements. And if we require our schools to provide them, the state has an obligation to fund them.
Now, lawmakers have until next year to get every school in Illinois fully funded. That deadline set back in 2017. Governor Pritzker highlighting the expansion of the state's sales tax and revenue bonds programs, or STAR. It allows local governments to issue those bonds to companies to help fund construction projects. The governor says it'll help lure major developers and create new jobs.
By expanding this STAR Bonds program, we're opening up more paths to sustainable growth across communities in Illinois. And this is yet another way that we are boosting small businesses with the partnership of state and local government, of community partners, and economic development organizations.
In order to become eligible for a STAR bond, the construction project must create at least 300 new jobs.
The White House is officially denying Illinois' appeal for major disaster declaration following severe summer storms. Governor Pritzker requested federal assistance for several communities impacted by severe flooding in August. The flooding resulted in widespread property damage, power outages, and disruptions to transportation and essential services. But FEMA is standing by its initial decision, saying federal help is not warranted. Governor Pritzker responding tonight, calling the decision politically motivated. He says it punishes thousands of Illinois families, adding, quote, playing politics with disaster relief funding is a new low, even for the Trump administration.
You know, a lot of people, they hold off on washing their cars until the temperatures hit just above freezing. And let me tell you, today, Emily, the line at the nearby car wash by my house, it was out the door. So,
I gave up.
Did you?
I gave up.
Did you?
I drove past 3 different car wash places today, and I was like, you know what? Today's not my day.
Not the day.
Yeah. Everybody had the same exact idea. And, you know, it makes sense because, one, we have temperatures that are a little bit warmer now, but also we have little to no precipitation in your forecast throughout the remainder of this week. So once we are able to kind of get those cars washed, they should stay pretty clean throughout the week as well. Your temperatures, right now, we are sitting in the upper 30s to low 40s. We do have gusty winds coming in out of the south-southeast. Tonight, we're going to see those winds turning to be a little more out of the south-southwest. Here's where we're headed over the next 48 hours. And you'll notice that temperatures this evening, they're not really going to change all that much. We're going down to the mid-30s. And then tomorrow, we're expected to rise into the low 40s. So nice and mild tomorrow. We're going to be in and out of the cloud cover, starting off with partly sunny skies, becoming partly cloudy during the afternoon. Looking ahead to Wednesday, temperatures are going to be running at least a little bit cooler, but still above average. We're going to be in the mid to upper 30s for your highs with some sunshine going into your Wednesday. Your 5-day forecast tomorrow, 42, partly sunny skies, partly cloudy on Wednesday with a high of 37. Dry skies looking to be the forecast for your Thursday, but I do think that we're going to be pretty cloudy. Sunshine is expected to return late this week. And then for Valentine's Day, things look good. We're counting on highs right around 42. We'll be right back.
We begin across America tonight in Georgia, where a small plane ends up on the road.
The FAA says the plane was experiencing engine trouble, leading to the emergency landing on the road. At some point, the plane hit several vehicles. Minor injuries were reported, and the FAA is investigating.
Big news out of South Texas today. We're going to see the next step in the fight against the New World screwworm. If you've never heard of this, this is a major parasitic threat to our nation's livestock. The first U.S. sterile fly production facility in more than 50 years has opened. Now, this is a flesh-eating fly. It's not in Texas yet, but it could devastate cattle and wildlife should it spread from Mexico. State officials say the move is being made to protect Texas agriculture and the livestock industry.
And for the first time in more than 100 years, a black-coated gray wolf is spotted in Los Angeles County. Wildlife officials say this 3-year-old wolf traveled into the mountains of north of Santa Clarita. She left her original pack a week ago, and experts say that's normal. She is currently considered a lone wolf looking for a mate and land to establish her own territory. Gray wolves had been absent from the state for 87 years until a lone wolf crossed the border from Oregon in 2011.
Let's go to Kentucky. Police looking to nab a guy who apparently has a fetish for goose statues. So this is Jeffersontown, and the PD there, they shared this video. They've dubbed this guy the J-Town Goose Wrangler. This is just one of the allegedly several porch geese that he has decided to steal. Police are also poking a little fun at the thief's potentially problematic lifting technique, tagging the post, hashtag need more leg days and lift with your legs.
Yeah, and where is he keeping them, too?
Question.
A man in Wisconsin is proving
Hope you have a real good day now, sir. Hope you folks have a real good afternoon now. Take care, fellas. God bless you folks. Hope you have a real good day now, ma'am.
A man in Wisconsin is proving that a simple hello can go a long way. This is 96-year-old George, but everyone calls him Red. 3 days a week, he volunteers at a health clinic. For 3 hours, he stands up, gives an emphatic fist pump, and greets the people coming through the door. People, of course, love him, and in case you're wondering, they call him Red because in his younger years, he apparently had a full head of red hair.
You know, Casey, the Golden Retriever has never won at Westminster, and that is an outrage. But in Golden, Colorado, they're making up for it.
I've heard of this.
Thousands of Goldens and their owners gather in a park in the city Golden for the annual Goldens and Golden event. Organizers say it's a way for the pups and their owners to mingle, share stories, and celebrate their love for their furry friends. Many of the people there traveled from all over the country for this event, which featured several dog-friendly vendors. Still ahead on the news at 5, it's Chicago Black Restaurant Week, and we are highlighting a diner on the South Side.
And a Chicago connection during the Super Bowl halftime show. We'll tell you about the conductor during the performance.
I'm Kessa Carlson. Coming up in sports, Chris Getz starts spring training by bringing back a rotation piece to the South Side and LaGrange Park represented in the Super Bowl as Seattle safety Julian Love makes a key play on the way to hoisting the Lombardi Trophy.
Now at the bottom of the hour, one of the most historic African-American burial grounds in all of Illinois is commemorating 99 years.
Warmer weather is here. Emily will tell us if we can expect to stay above freezing for the whole week.
First, we've got new details tonight in a child death investigation out of Lake County. The coroner identifying the 8-year-old boy found unresponsive inside a Round Lake Beach home.
2 people, including his own mother, are charged with murder. Leslie Moreno is live in Round Lake Beach with the latest. Leslie.
Hey guys, good evening. Yeah, the Lake County coroner has identified that 8-year-old as Markel Peace of Round Lake Beach. Neighbors telling us they're shocked to learn that this was all happening just next door and that they could have done something about this. Police were called out here to the 1900 block of Cedar Lake Road Friday afternoon for a report of an unresponsive child. Officers found the 8-year-old. They gave him CPR and was rushed to the hospital where he later died. Preliminary autopsy results and evidence inside the home point to malnourishment and long-term physical and mental abuse as well. Authorities say the boy's 10-year-old sibling was also inside the home and taken to the hospital after showing the same signs as well. Police say the child's mother, 33-year-old Dominique Servant, and her boyfriend, 38-year-old Joey Ruffin, both appeared in court today. They are being charged with first-degree murder and child endangerment. A neighbor who's lived next door for 8 years says she never once saw the child outside the home, leading her to believe he may have been kept indoors.
I was really shocked. Yeah, I didn't expect it at all. It's really sad to hear, knowing they're just like 8 and 10 years old. You never know what's going on around you, so this was really shocking.
Back out here live outside at the boys' home, you can see neighbors and residents here have left behind some teddy bears, some balloons, some flowers. We did reach out to DCFS. They say the family was not receiving any services from them, and they are actively investigating the child's death. We are also still waiting on final autopsy results. Those results will give us more information into the child's final days. For now, reporting live here in Lake County, Les Moreno, Fox, Chicago.
Okay, so after spending a better part of a month in the deep freeze, we are finally coming out of it. The question I have for you, Emily, is how long are we going to stay above freezing?
Well, please let it be a while.
It is going to be a while through this week, this weekend, and then likely through a really, really good chunk of next week, too. So take a look at your temperatures right now. We are above the freezing mark, and your daily high temperatures over the next couple of days looking pretty nice. Average is right around 34 degrees. We're going to bounce back and forth between the 30s and 40s this week and this weekend. I know you're already looking at that 60 next week. Keep in mind, this is a week and a half out, so all of this far out in the 50s and 60s, that's representing model data that's coming in. So we're going to see some fluctuations with that, but what I want you to take away from this is that temperatures are staying above average this week. And next week really, really strongly looks like we are going to be well above average, if not possibly in the 50s for a couple days. For tonight, 34 degrees. We are looking at south-southwesterly winds gusting as high as 20 miles per hour. So that's occasionally going to be bringing temperatures, or wind chill temperatures, I should say, down into the 20s. Your 3-day forecast, 42 degrees tomorrow. Partly sunny skies. We'll see a little bit more in the way of sunshine in the afternoon. On Wednesday, we're partly cloudy with a high of 37. Then on Thursday, we're clouding things back over. But at this point, it's looking like the sunshine will return again by Friday. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Emily. Burr Oak Cemetery now closing in on a century of existence.
In honor of Black History Month, the historic resting place is honoring its founders. A wreath-laying ceremony this afternoon honored W. Ellis Stewart, Earl B. Dickerson, Claude Barnett, and Dr. Midian Othello Boosfield. They founded Burr Oak Cemetery back in 1927 to provide Black families a place to lay their loved ones to rest when there were very few options.
Burr Oak Cemetery became a sacred place for remembrance and rest. As we approach next year, 100 years, Burr Oak Cemetery remains not only a resting place, but a symbol of resilience and remembrance.
Burr Oak Cemetery is the resting place for prominent Black figures like Mamie and Emmett Till. It was listed on the National Register of Historic Places earlier this year.
Also this month, Casey, we're looking at historic places you walk past every day without even thinking about them, like Stussy's Diner in Bridgeport. So the owner, Eric Nance, he was barely a year old, sitting in a car when something tragic happened. 45 years later, he saw the building where that occurred at 35th and Halstead was for sale, and he bought it. Now it is black and female owned. One of the co-owners takes us back to that day that changed everything.
Eric, my godfather, was with his family, and they were actually right across the street. And his father and grandfather, who was a Chicago police officer who was off duty, were across the street, and they were actually attacked by a mob of people. And when he sought help from Stussy's, or from what is now Stussy's, they locked the doors on them. And as that attack continued, they just felt really helpless.
Well, now they say the place is a safe space for everyone. It's part of Chicago Black Restaurant Week as well. That runs through February 22nd. There are 40 places involved. You can check out the full list at fox32chicago.com. Scott.
Getting hungry already. Terrence, thank you. We are recapping the most memorable moments from the Super Bowl halftime show.
That includes how Bad Bunny paid tribute to Puerto Rico. halftime show creating a lot of buzz online. Bad Bunny turned the field at Levi Stadium into a Puerto Rican paradise. The singer paid homage to his homeland by taking viewers on a journey through Puerto Rico's culture. On Chicago Live, we spoke with the president of the National Museum of Puerto Rican Arts and Culture, who pointed out some of the important imagery, starting with Bad Bunny's sugarcane opening.
This country was built on the workers of the sugar cane, right? The brown and the blacks who they had in this country, basically building the economy for other countries and stuff. So it was very significant. I think that, you know, to honor the workers, those people who have lifted up our people and our country and kept our traditions, even though they went through so many struggles. I think the sugarcane was part of it. He did so much with other people. Just the seniors playing dominoes alone was sending a message. No, we're still here, guys.
Yeah.
You know, we're still here.
Bad Bunny also performed on utility poles while singing lyrics about the frequent blackouts in Puerto Rico. There have been chronic outages there since September 2017, when Hurricane Maria pummeled the island, destroying a power grid that crews are still struggling to rebuild.
Well, if you were watching that halftime show, you probably noticed a conductor directing a string orchestra.
Sylvia Perez is here. Sylvia, what is the Chicago connection?
There's always a Chicago connection.
Always.
Here's another one for you. He is Maestro Giancarlo Guerrero, the new conductor of the Grant Park Music Festival. He himself is also a 6-time Grammy Award winner. Guerrero says being a part of the halftime show was an amazing experience, and it was beyond inspiring to work with Bad Bunny and the other artists. He also says he scored some big points with his wife and daughter, who are huge Bad Bunny fans. Guerrero is from Nicaragua and calls Bad Bunny a multi-talented artist who plays so many kinds of Hispanic music that it feels like home. Guerrero is currently the music director as well of Sarasota's orchestra. He'll be back in Chicago to kick off the Grant Park Music Festival in June. In the meantime, we will be speaking to him tomorrow. We'll be bringing you that interview on the news at 4 and 5. And I tell you what, it's worth going back to watch this halftime show because there's little Easter eggs everywhere that are being revealed.
And because it was more exciting than the game?
Yeah, a lot more exciting than the game. There was that, for sure.
But yeah, you could rewatch it and watch one person in it again and
different.
again.
Yeah. Very
Sylvia,
cool.
thank you.
All right, well, as we've been talking about all broadcasts, it's getting warm out there. Finally, we're reaching the 40s.
And we should be in the clear from any rain or snow for a while. Emily has her full forecast after the break.
Still to come in sports, the Seahawks serve as a reminder that defense wins championships with their dominant win over the Patriots. And we hear from White Sox GM Chris Getz on the eve of pitchers and catchers reporting to Camelback Ranch. Spring training is here, and Fox Chicago is there to have you covered. Tina Nguyen has the latest from Glendale when we come back.
Well, Emily, I think we were all breathing a collective sigh of relief today. What is the rest of the week looking like?
Rest of the week looks pretty good. You know, if you think back to last week, we were kind of teasing ahead to this week and how this week just looked like it was going to be a pretty easy week to get through. And that's what it's still looking like. There hasn't been any surprises from Mother Nature, so I think we're in really good shape. Let's take a check of your high temperatures today. We ended up topping out in the upper 30s to low 40s. Right now, we're sitting at 37 degrees at O'Hare. Same thing in Gary. It's still 40 in Joliet, so feeling pretty good. 39 in Aurora. It's 43 in LaSalle, 35 in Rensselaer, 32 in Valparaiso. But for a lot of us today, we've been experiencing temperatures above the freezing mark, so we've had a little bit of melting taking place. And the good thing about this week is that, yes, we're going to continue to thaw out, but it's not going to happen too fast. So this time of the year, you know, whenever you get those days that warm up in a really big way, if you go from freezing temperatures back up to temperatures that are in the 40s and 50s, that can lead to flooding concerns. Well, this week, we're really kind of slowly thawing things out before we have the chance of maybe hitting the 50s early next week. Your 5-day forecast here. We're in the low 40s tomorrow, 30s expected Wednesday and Thursday. Friday and Saturday, I think we're climbing back up into the 40s again. And your average for this time of the year is right around 34 degrees. So we're staying above that each and every day. Your temperature outlook, this is from the 15th through the 19th, so Sunday through Thursday of next week. And you can see here that we're strongly favored to see above average conditions. And many models for next week are bringing us into the 50s, if not even close to the 60s in some portions of the area. Of course, we're still about a week and a half out, so there can be some changes. But the overall takeaway from this forecast is that we're staying above average this week, and we will likely be above average next week as well. Satellite and radar. Things are quiet here at home. We do have some precipitation off to our north and northeast. Not really going to be an issue for us, though. Tonight, we're looking at mostly cloudy conditions as this low pressure system moves through. And then tomorrow morning, we're waking up to partly sunny skies. I do think we'll get some sunshine, especially midday into the afternoon. So your skies are going to become partly cloudy tomorrow afternoon. High temperatures will be in the 40s. And then looking ahead to Wednesday, this model's trying to bring in quite a bit of cloud cover. But at this point, if anything, I think we're going to be seeing increasing amounts of sunshine going through the day on Wednesday. So I have a mostly sunny to partly cloudy forecast for you on Wednesday with temperatures just slightly cooler in the mid to upper 30s. Tonight, way above average, 34 degrees for your overnight low, 42 tomorrow, partly cloudy conditions on Wednesday. Thursday, mainly dry skies, but we are going to cloud things back over. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have temperatures going back up into the 40s. Cassie.
Thanks, Emily. They say defense wins championships, and Seattle's dark side defense was dominant in the Seahawks' 29-13 win over the Patriots in the Super Bowl. They held New England scoreless for 3 quarters, sacked Drake May 6 times, and forced 3 turnovers. And Seattle safety Julian Love represented LaGrange Park on the biggest stage. The Nazareth Academy grad came away with Seattle's first interception, and Sam Darnold, who was once written off, threw for 202 yards and a touchdown on his way to hoisting the Lombardi.
It's special. I've dreamed of this my whole life. I know my Abuelito and my Abuelita are proud. Yeah, this is a dream come true. I'd be kidding you if I didn't dream of that in the backyard when I was, 8, 9 years old. To see that ball in the air, it was right to me. The only thought in my mind is just catch it.
I told my dad I was, and my mom, but, I'm here because of their belief in me. And they believed in me throughout my entire career, and I think that's why I was able to believe in myself almost ad nauseum. Some people called me crazy throughout my career for believing in myself so much and having so much confidence, but it was because of my parents, because of the way that they believed in me throughout my entire career, and it allowed me to go out there and play free and have a ton of confidence.
Well, one season ends and another one begins. White Sox pitchers and catchers report to Camelback Ranch tomorrow to start spring training, and that's where we find our Tina Nguyen, who joins us now. Tina, Chris Getz just spoke ahead of spring training. What was the GM's message?
Yeah, well, overall, there's a lot of excitement heading into the 2026 season, and rightfully so, especially with the moves that Chris Getz has made in the offseason, adding key veteran players, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Anthony Kay, Austin Hayes, Sean Newcomb, guys like that. Pair that with the young core of Colson Montgomery, Kyle Teal, Chase Mydroth. All of those guys have an MLB season under their belt. Year one under Will Venable was really about learning to establish an identity and a culture as well, but multiple players, along with Chris Getz and Will Venable, will talk to you about how much progress they made in the second half of the season. Chris Getz often uses the words momentum there, and it ultimately has laid down a solid foundation for them.
We're excited. There's a fair amount of momentum that's been created, both because of the second half last year, some of the acquisitions that we were able to make in the offseason. But I know that Will's really focused to start at ground zero and start from zero and get to work both fundamentally, ease these guys into playing time, so we're off and ready to go come opening day. So, we feel really good about where we're at. The room is excited. They're hungry. But we got to go out and play good baseball. And that's why we're out here in spring training, to really set the stage for that.
And Chris Getz said a few weeks ago at Sox Fest that he's going to continue to be active here throughout spring training to improve this roster. The White Sox are reportedly working on a one-year deal with Eric Fetty here. But the big name this offseason has been Munetaka Murakami, the Japanese slugger, known to have one of the most explosive bats back home in Japan. I saw him walk out of the facility here just right before Chris Getz talked. He was all smiles, but you can imagine, Cassie, a lot of excitement as well now that he is here in the clubhouse.
All right, thanks, Tina. We have plenty more from her at the top of the hour on Chicago Sports Tonight. White Sox reporter Scott Merkin discusses the latest signings on the South Side. Danny Parkins recaps the Super Bowl and weighs in on how Caleb Williams would have fared against the Seahawks defense. And is Arlington Heights back in play? We have the latest on the Bears Stadium. That's on Chicago Sports Tonight at 6 on Fox Local and 9:30 right here on Fox Chicago. Well, the New Look Bulls on the road in Brooklyn tonight. They have lost 7 of their last 8 games and dropped their last 3 on the road. And, of course, a lot of newcomers are going to have opportunities as Trey Jones, Zach Collins, Josh Giddey, and Jalen Smith are all out. Tip-off coming up at 6:30. And Illini men's basketball falls 3 spots to number 8 after their overtime loss to Michigan State on Saturday. Illini football hires Bobby Hauck as their new defensive coordinator. That's it for sports. We're back after this.
Fox 30.
All right, a final check of your 7-day forecast here tonight. We're only dropping down to about 34 degrees. We're in the 40s tomorrow, 30s, dry skies Wednesday and Thursday, and then jumping ahead to Valentine's Day on Saturday. Things look good. High of 42.
Thanks, Emily, and thanks for joining us at 5.
And now you can stream us on your smart TV with Fox Local.
We're on all the streaming platforms.
Family Feud is next. We'll see you back here at 9.